start.
Search together.
Search together. IPSA. We're not just a name in a directory. Local minds with national synergy.
Oh, yes, local minds with natural synergy, as the song says. Welcome to IPSA Kind of Magic, featuring, of course, Hamish McClare of Search Convey, who set this up with me in the first place, and our esteemed guest, friend of the show, consultant for IPSA, Jackie Dyson, recently returned from one of her many holidays, of course.
No.
Oh, no.
Not guilty, no.
Not till August. Not till August. Bless her.
No, October.
Oh,
I thought every day's a holiday now, Jackie.
Well, it is when you're retired, yes.
Yes, there you go. See, every day, walking to the shops, holiday. Right, okay. So today's topic, as ever, helps to identify, I suppose, part of the aspects of working within searches and specifically IPSA. The title is, What Happens When Local Knowledge Retires? And to start us off, as per usual, Hamish McClare.
it's quite interesting that very, very few people have a full understanding of English law, by and large, because a lot of it's not written down. There are some aspects which are written, and that gets very complicated. But the majority of it actually is because of what has happened previously, and it actually sort of continues to run and has run for hundreds upon hundreds of years. Now, we haven't had land charges officers for that length of time. We haven't had research agents for that period of time. However, law changes and various things happen. They bring in various different things, but it hasn't changed the aspect. The fundamentals are still there, that people who have evolved knowledge and with local experience particularly, they have done it over a period of time. And because they have an in-depth it becomes ingrained almost. It's part of the DNA of that particular sort of person as they're doing things. Now, what actually happens, because once they transfer, now land charges obviously, so in fact, Jackie's probably a great one to explain this to us, that sometimes land charges officers aren't considered to be fulfilling a particular role within council, so they change remarkably quickly. But there are others that retain tremendous knowledge, and they work there for years and years and years. And you can ask them something, and snap, there's the answer. Unfortunately, when they lose, when they move on, when they retire, that knowledge goes. AI can't replace it. The data records can't replace it. It's a bit like, I mean, we are getting a bit too deep now, I guess, but allegedly we all have auras. But it's exactly the same with your local area. There's something about it, spirit of place, whatever we have. We're getting too deep now, aren't we? But you get the understanding, you get the drift. But no, what does actually happen
but Hamish, part of the thing that is quite relevant that the point you're making is a lot of this knowledge is incrementally built up over time through relationships developed within that area. And when somebody as excellent as Jackie perhaps retires, there's a potential for that knowledge not to have filtered it through to the next wave. What do you think, Jackie?
Yes, definitely. It's like any profession knowledge and years in it. It's like in the police force, they had community beat officers. So if a crime happened in their beat, they knew who'd done it. They know who nicks the bike. They know who goes scrumping. It's something you build up. And also it's a gut instinct. It's working in the same area all the time. So that's why you get your specialists. That's why you get your crime lawyers. That's why you get your conveyancers, pro bono.
It's all about pattern recognition, isn't
yes,
it?
It's the trouble is, as Hamish says, when people go and there's a turnover of staff, that local knowledge goes. Like if you're doing a search on a development, and you remember the planning applications that came in initially for that development and what the development was called under those planning applications. One in particular I can think of in Halifax. It was on the old Webster's Brewery site. So I knew when that came in. I knew that there was 4 developers in parts of the site, so that's the local knowledge. And obviously, when the development came to be finished, the names were changed. It no longer became known as the Webster Brewery site. It became known under the names of the roads.
Right.
So when you do a search on that, you will look up the name of the road that you're doing the search on, say Smith Avenue. But if you didn't know that was the old Webster's Brewery site, you wouldn't know that not far away from your property is a Grade 2 star listed building that was the original Long Can, it was called. It was a pub, etc. It's those sort of thing. And that you know that this developer had a 106 agreement and that developer had 3 106 agreements and each one had a different highways agreement. So it's that local knowledge, that you lose when people retire. Other things like where there's a new development, what was on that site before? I could think of one in Skipton that when I spoke to my auntie who lived there, she went, "Oh, I wouldn't buy one on there. There used to be a tannery." It's those sort of thing, and it's like when you speak to people from the war. They will tell you stories that aren't written down anywhere. My mum was one. She was evacuated during the war and things like that, and it was little things she told me,
right,
that are not written down anywhere. And again, it's local knowledge that's up there, gut instinct. And unfortunately, when people retire, sometimes that knowledge is not passed on. And it's difficult to actually pass on a lot of knowledge unless you work with somebody for 2 or 3 years before you finish to give them those, I remember this and this, that, and other. And when you do this, just be careful because there are public footpaths that run through there or, silly little things that. And unfortunately, with a fast turnover of staff, which does happen in councils, and unfortunately now, because everything's online, you don't get to speak to the land charges officer, you don't get to speak to the people in the planning department, you don't get to speak to people in highways anymore and ask certain questions. You have to email them.
So there's a subsequent question to this then. So how do we ensure that when people like yourself leave the industry or less involved in it, that those that are left manage to pick up some of that excellent knowledge to help them make better decisions?
Well, to be honest, I don't really know. I don't rightly know. It is. I suppose if you're coming up for retirement and you employ somebody in your place that you can pass, work with them for a couple of years and pass that information on, but it doesn't happen like that. Somebody gets a job and they give a month's notice and off they go.
Well, I have an answer for you. I think
go on then.
The excellent IPSA get-togethers, the shindigs, where people are able to talk to each other, I think that really help, because by building a community, and when you get discussing, and I've overheard, I've been there, so I've overheard discussion. Oh, when you did this, well, actually, and so on. And I just want to encourage more of those kind of conversations.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I didn't think about that, and also that's why IPSA pushes. We're a national company or association with local knowledge, because if I want a search doing in Shropshire, I would have passed it to Heather because she is the oracle. I was Calderdale, West Yorkshire, so I was the knowledge. Or there's other people that are as knowledgeable. But yes, and that's why we push IPSA, because this national service with local knowledge, and that is so important. It's because sometimes on the search forms there's questions that are not there that still need to be asked. The search questions, they're 10 years old now. They do need updating and changing. Some need taking off.
Yeah.
And there's questions that you will ask in one area that don't apply to the council next door. You
Right.
know, so it's. I know for a fact. I grew up in Welwyn Garden City, and Welwyn Garden City is a new town. And I know a lot of the searches there will reveal stuff about the new towns commissions and stuff like that do not apply to anywhere in West Yorkshire, because we haven't got any new towns at the moment. We could have, you never know. So it's again, it's that local knowledge, and you just try and pass as much on as you possibly can. And as you said, Gareth, and if anybody from IPSA is listening or watching, and you're not coming to the Members' Day, please come, because there's, I mean, especially now about the water companies, because there's so much going on with water companies now. We have somebody coming and talking about how these small little firms are setting up the water companies, and it's how you deal with them. So if there's anybody out there that's not, please come, because there's a lot to learn this time, a lot to learn.
But also just by interacting with people who are other IPSA members, perhaps who are in the next block across, so geographically from there.
Yes.
You need to know, because there's always going to be a handoff. Hamish, I think it's critical to the IPSA membership that you understand that you are part of a cooperative, not a competitive outfit. I think the perception of IPSA can sometimes be you're a bunch of searchers under one umbrella, but it's more than that, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I think one of the things that we've actually sort of gained over a period of time is that the trust that we have with each other as well. It's not, and this is one of the interesting things as well. It's just not the knowledge of the place, the knowledge of the councils, but there's a trust of each other. So you know exactly. I mean, as Jackie so rightly sort of pointed out, she would know Shropshire. I mean, it's almost inbred. You don't need to look it up anywhere. You just think Heather. If it's Wales, it's
Mahesh.
Mahesh, of course.
Yeah. And you know, you sort of go down the south coast of sort of the Isle of Wight sort of type of area. It's Andrew Prison, and all of these sort of things, because you've evolved, you've worked with those particular sort of people, and we don't need to understand it. And the big problem is, of course, what will happen. The great thing is there is a strength at the moment, but people do retire. I mean, one of the reasons we're very fortunate that Jackie is partially retired, we've been able to sort of retain her and her knowledge by associating. She actually supports us and basically sort of works alongside of us still, which is
great. And we're all thankful for it. Thank goodness.
But it does. This is one of the great things. But because we are able to share with each other, I mean, it is quite interesting as well, because even within IPSA, we've got family firms. There's parents who've left and no longer working in it,
right?
And they pass it on. Their children are actually running the business, and even sort of further. I mean, it does. So that actually sort of prolongs the particular knowledge of a particular sort of area, and it is one of those sad things, because the land charge, the land charges officer we had the relationships with, we've evolved that relation. Many of them are retiring now. They're moving on. AI is replacing them. They think it's cheaper. We can get rid of this very experienced because they cost an awful lot of money. We'll get one of these youngsters to actually do it. They don't have the same local knowledge that person was sort of, that's been moved to one side, moved to another department.
I'm not wishing it upon them, but there's so many ways they could come a cropper without having that local knowledge, and AI won't always dig them out the poo.
Well, this is one of the standards. What it does happen, of course, and there are big the corporate companies, the factory organizations. They, of course, are employing people who don't have a knowledge of place, who don't understand those little side issues like Jackie's just explained. Oh yeah, I know that extent. I mean, we've got one of our team. She is absolutely unbelievable, and she knows Milton Keynes like the back of her hand. The number of developments there's been in Milton Keynes over the years. Of course, it's a new town. In fact, it's a new city. The size of it, it's absolutely massive.
Yes.
what happens when you lose something like Shelley knows more than the land charges officers that are actually sort of working there now. And much the same sort of kinds of things sort of happen. We actually speak to people who weren't there, and you can't speak to them directly either. I think that's one of the things that Jackie pointed out, which is very important. We've lost the sad aspect of communication.
Customer services, customer service. There's seems to be no customer service anymore.
I don't blame the young fellows that taken this over. I blame the fact that there's no real proper handover, that they are effectively dumped in this role. It's assumed that AI will take up the slack. And in fact, what happens is at some point they're going to feel, I feel frustrated for them actually. At some point they're going to feel that they've been sold a pup, that they haven't been given the full information, and because some of that information went with the vote. So that leads me to bang on yet again about please, IPSA members. I can see you're out there. We've got 11 currently watching us. Please come along to the conferences.
Yes, please.
It's not just the knowledge you're going to get from the, but the fact that you're going to mix with some other IPSA members. You'll hear stories that they tell, that loads of stories, which will reassure you that you're not alone in this. That other things going on. Sorry.
The other thing I'd like to say is that when I looked for someone to do my searches, I usually always chose someone that I knew, that I'd met at the IPSA conferences, and thought, I've spoken to them. They have a lot of knowledge, and I'm going to use them. I'm not going to use that other company because I've never met them. I don't know them. So that is another reason for these conferences and the members' day. So we're 21 this year. We've got the key of the door this year. We definitely have. And, so, and it's nice to see everybody. And even though I'm still not actually working in the industry, I'm still involved. I still try and keep up to date as much as possible. I'd like to know how everybody's going on. And the one that intrigues me again at the moment is these water companies. We've got somebody from Northumbrian Water coming to talk, and because this week, or was it last week, Thames Water, there's big problems there, and what is going to happen to the searches? Does this person that's coming from Northumbrian, because they work in the industry, can they tell us what's going to happen? Will there still be a search service for Thames Water? Is it going to be broken up? Is there going to be 6 or 7 water companies serving that area? So that's the sort of thing that this person might bring along and, answer questions that you're thinking about. Are they going to break up these big water companies?
Can I say, it may sound like we're telling you to come along to an event which is going to be a lot of homework and a lot of brain work. There's fun as well. The food's good.
Oh, yes. And the entertainment's brilliant.
But the point I'm trying to make is it's a place where you get to know people within the same industry who are having similar sort of problems, who are faced with similar mounting issues, and you can get advice, you can feel kinship, and you'll find out those people, as Jackie says, you're far more likely to want to work with someone that you've met or about, you've had a conversation with. I think they're marvelous. Hamish, would you care to take us home, please?
Well, yes, and it's well worth actually just mentioning a couple of other factors. What does trends change, and the way in which council handle things change. And Jackie's spoken about what's going on. There's something going on with the water boards now. We don't know the background. Somebody inside will. Also, it's getting a bit complicated because highways information's changed.
Right.
And people are suggesting, you look it up on this. And unfortunately, you tend to find that this isn't necessarily accurate.
Right.
But we don't actually have within our industry the need that many professionals actually sort of have. I say there is a need, but there is not contained within what we have to do, CPD, continuous professional development. But these conferences enable that to actually happen. It will unwind, it will bring you new news, it will bring you greater information, which puts confidence in the minds of the people that we are working for. It helps us to actually make sure that our clients are kept up to date with changes to things like land registry. That's so much smoother if you're working with somebody who's been working with the council previously, because
Right.
they will see if something's going marginally wrong. So there's an awful lot to do. There's an awful lot, if you like, sort of comes from conferences. But the important thing is, and what we're actually sort of saying, there is a challenge with people actually moving from the industry, but by actually conversing and keeping it together, and by it's really by sort of the kind of tradition is carried on, not so much in the writing of, like Jackie spoke about, but in the minds of people who are communicating with each other. Humans make a difference.
Sharing, and the best way of sharing in IPSA is to turn up to these events. I promise you'll enjoy it, and you'll get to meet people who have similar aspirations, similar contingencies, similar issues, and you'll feel so much more supported, and you'll realize that you're not alone. I think there's a tendency for people to feel like it's just me against the world. Well, it isn't. There's a whole bunch of people there, all of which they'll make you feel supported. Thank you so much, as ever, Jackie, for coming along and brightening our day, and Hamish. Thank you very much indeed. It's reassuring to hear it. And look, guys, next event. When's the next event, guys? Hamish?
What, 6th of July?
Right. So look, it's the 6th of July. Steel
Right.
your resolve to the sticking post. Come along. Enjoy yourself, meet people, eat food, and dance your feet off. Please do come along. Until the next podcast, which I believe is tomorrow, we've got, of course, the property quorum tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And then on Friday, we've got, I think I'm not overselling it to say, one of the most effective podcasts we've done together, Hamish, which is Cladding Matters. It's mobilized governments, it's made Lord's question, and it's got more than one person hot under the collar. So therefore we must be doing a good job, because they actually care about it. So do come along to that. We should be talking about yet more reasons about property safety, and particularly about the way that affects cladding. We'll have Steve there from Royal Artillery Keys, and hopefully you'll find it both amusing and interesting. If not, very infuriating, all of which I'm happy with. Until tomorrow, please keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and in these troubled times, please try and look after your mental health. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Local skill,
National connection,
independent,
but never alone.
IPSA,
Where your professional home.